What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel, check out the content. And I want to speak on a recent comment that Stephen A. Smith made about Bronny James, right? He basically came out and said that Bronny James don't even deserve to be in an NBA. And so what I think about this is it's about time. You know, I just think it's about time that Stephen A. Smith came out and said this. Um, People have been saying this all along about Bronny James. Bronny James, you know, there was nothing even in high school that said that Bronny James was, to qualify. He has been overrated. He's been overrated ever since high school. So in high school, I think Bronny James averaged like 14 points a game in high school. And so people were saying that, all Americans don't average. And I'm trying to think who said it. It might have been Kenny Smith, but Kenny Smith or somebody said they made a point that all Americans don't average 14 points, in high school. A high school All American usually average at least 20 points, or at 20 points or more as an All American. So right from the jump, you could see that Bronny James he was receiving special privileges, and he was being overrated. Bronny James was not even the best ball player on his high school team. And I'm surprised, in my opinion, I'm surprised that he even averaged 14 points in high school. I didn't even know he averaged that much because every time I seen a game or see him play, it never looked like he scored that many points. But if they say average point 14, then that's good. But still, 14 points as an All-American, that's got to be an all-time, that's got to be an all-time low. Then on top of that, he was selected to the McDonald's All-American team. He got to play in the McDonald's game, and then so when you look at him in that game when he played against the competition at a McDonald's All-American game, he didn't really look special in that game. Now, even in that game, it's really in the McDonald's All-American game, it's a little bit hard to tell, like, because wasn't too much defense being played. It's all about it's like they run and gun. You know what I mean? Everybody just running up and down the court, just trying to get dunks and catch alley oops and stuff like that. So you really can't really get a good judge of people's skill and their skill level, right? But he and still, with that being said, he still didn't even stand out, then. And so now he makes it to college, and he goes to USC. A team that's not really USC really wasn't all that good. They won a handful of games, the year that he played. And even in college, Bronny James, again, he didn't stand out. He averaged almost 5 points a game, in college. So, the whole way through, Bronny James has been receiving special privileges, and so, I mean, because of who his father is, people understand that. But then, it would have seemed that people like Stephen A. Smith and ESPN, would have been able to not wait until now, when Bronny James is signed a 4 years, $7 million contract, and you see him play all these games, and he definitely not performing. If Stephen A. Smith knew basketball, like he said he knew basketball, then he would have been able to tell people from the very jump that that Bronny James didn't deserve to be in the NBA, that Bronny James wasn't good enough to be in the NBA. And so I'm wondering why now, why now is Stephen A. Smith speaking out about, Bronny James? Now, is it that he realized that he just now realizing that Bronny James is not good enough? or is it that, like, they changed the agenda, like, like the agenda has changed, like they're moving on to somebody else besides LeBron James, and Bronny James is going to be um, almost like a caught up, like an innocent bystander, like he's going to get caught up in that media storm, or that change in perspective about LeBron James. Because if you can see or not, the media is kind of going after LeBron James also. So it only stands to reason that Bronny James may be a casualty of that, when I think that Stephen A. Smith he would have a lot more credibility if he had just been honest with people from the jump, and I think he could have been honest, without being too harsh on the guy, the young guy, but still he was harsh on Kwame Brown. When Kwame Brown played for the Wizards, Stephen A. didn't hold back, and he gave what he thought was his honest opinion. And as a matter of fact, for years, he really drug Kwame Brown. And now, when it comes to Bronny James, he's handling Bronny James with kid gloves. Not only is he handling him with kid gloves, but for a long time, he misled. He tried to mislead people about really how good Bronny James was. But the jig is up. Like I said, for Stephen A. Smith, it's about time. I think that, like I said, he still don't really have when it comes to, in my opinion, Stephen A. Smith really don't have a lot of credibility, because he could have just been honest from the jump. And he's not the only one at ESPN who I think, don't have a lot of credibility when it comes to like, his stances and stuff. It just seems like these networks are just promoting they're just trying to promote a certain narrative, and they will say anything to promote that narrative until they're through with that narrative. And I think right now, for LeBron James and Bronny James, I think that they're through with that narrative. So that's why Stephen A. Smith just came out and said, yeah, well, Bronny James is not, he don't even deserve to be in the league. We all knew that from the jump, that Bronny James didn't belong in the league. But Stephen A. Smith wanted to, he refused to. I can see if it even was close. Like if Bronny James had, he was exceptional at defense, or if he was shooting a few, if he was making more than 17% of his threes. But he, like nothing that he brings to the table, nothing he's done so far has even, you can't even argue a case for Bronny James. And so, Stephen A. Smith, just hurt his credibility again. That's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.